In this tutorial I will show you how to knit my Trimetry slippers. The knitting of slippers starts from the heel section. So first I need to cast on some stitches for the heel flap. There are 4 sizes in the pattern and you need to cast on the required quantity of stitches for your size. For my size it's 35 stitches. I'm using long tail cast on for my knitting. Here are my 35 stitches, and now I need to work my heel flap in staccato. So for row 1 I knit all stitches. For the row 2, which is wrong side row, I knit first stitch, purl to last stitch and knit the last stitch as well. Repeat those 2 rows as many times as instructed in the pattern. So here I knitted my 24 rows for the heel flap. My last row was wrong side row. Now I'm going to work my turning heel, working short rows and decreasing stitches in the middle of row. So my first row is slip 1 stitch, knit 21 stitch. You need to knit the quantity of stitches instructed in the pattern for your size. Now I need to decrease 1 stitch by working slip, slip, knit. Knit 1 stitch and turn my knitting for the next row. Now I'm going to work my wrong side row. I need to slip first stitch with yarn to front, with yarn in front, purl 10 stitches, and decrease 1 stitch by purling 2 stitches together. Purl 1 stitch and turn your knitting for next row. Now you need to knit 1 stitch before the gap. So I need to slip my first stitch with yarn in back, knit up to 1 stitch before the gap, decrease 1 stitch by slip slip knit, knit 1 stitch and turn, slip 1 stitch with yarn in front, purl up to 1 stitch to the gap, purl 2 stitches together, purl 1, turn knitting for the next row. So now you repeat those steps until you knitted all those stitches. So here my turning heel. Now we need to continue working the foot section, and for this I need to pick up stitches on both sides of heel into gathering stitch bumps. So I need to cut my yarn, leaving about 10 inches so I can weave in yarn ends later on. I insert my needle into the very first stitch. Oops. Pick up the yarn and make the first stitch. Then I insert my needle into the first gather stitch bump, pick up the yarn, pull through. It's my second stitch. Continue in this manner up to your open stitches. Here are my 12 gather stitch bumps plus 1 stitch into the very first row. Now I need knit 1 stitch, place marker and knit up to the last stitch on my left hand needle. place another marker, knit 1 stitch. Now I'm going to pick up stitches along second edge of my heel flap, absolutely the same way as I've just done it for the right edge. And last stitch. Here are all my stitches on the needle. So I'm going to purl the next row. I knit first stitch and last stitch. So in next row I'm going to continue shaping my heel by decreasing stitches after first marker and before the second marker. So next step is decreasing for foot shaping. We need to knit to our first marker, slip the marker and decrease 1 stitch by slip slip knit, slip slip knit. Now we knit up to 2 stitches before next marker. Decrease 1 stitch by knitting 2 stitches together. Slip marker and working pattern to end of row, or just knit all stitches. Now I'm going to work the next row, which is wrong side row, as knit first stitch, which is our H stitch, purl all stitches up to last one and knit the last stitch. Now I'm going to repeat last 2 rows as many times as requested in the pattern. So next right side row I work the same way. I knit up to stitch marker, slip marker, and decrease by 1 stitch by slip slip knit. Actually, you can work slip slip knit another way. One way is when you slip 1 stitch, slip 2nd stitch, move them both back to left needle and knit them together. Another way is slip 1 stitch, knit the 2nd stitch and slip the 1st stitch over. Now knit up to 2 stitches before next marker, and knit 2 stitches together, slip marker and knit to end of row. Purl next round side row. Remember to knit both edge stitches. Continue in the same manner. Actually, we don't need those 2 markers anymore, so we can remove them. So here I knitted 10 centimeters for my foot section, and now I need to cast on stitches for top part of slipper. So basically I need to cast on those stitches and continue working in the round. So basically what I'm going to do, next row I knit in staccato stitch to end of this row, turn my knitting, and cast on the stitches for the front part. Also, I will need to place 2 stitch markers. So what I'm doing, I'm knitting to the end of row, place stitch marker, and now I'm going to cast on 35, oh sorry, now I'm going to cast on 30 stitches for my size, this way. 1, 2, 3, actually at this point you can cast on stitches to the second needle, but with flexible needles it's possible to continue with the same needle and split stitches to 2 needles in the next row. Make sure you do not twist stitches around this needle. So next row or next round I'm going to knit 1 full round. I will place the second marker in the next row, otherwise it will drop off. This row is a bit tricky, as you need to make sure that you not overstretch your stitches, you don't lose any of your stitches. So here I knitted all my stitches on the first needle. Now I'm going to take my third needle and continue second part of the row. I also going to move my stitch marker here for a while. Okay, so here my first round is done. Making sure that we didn't lose any stitches. Okay, next row or next round we need start working in our main stitch, which is start with purl row. So I knit first part of round and purl another one. So purl 30 stitches at front part of our slipper. Okay, and next round we need to work in the same manner. Knit all stitches for sole part and work in main pattern in twisted stitches for the front part. So in next round I will show you how to work our twisted stitches. So I need half of my stitches on the first needle, or actually I need all stitches on my first needle. And now I need, I need to knit all stitches on needle 2 because it's our second row and we need to knit all stitches in this row. And only in row 3 of the stitch chart we will start working our twisted stitches. So I'm knitting all stitches in my round 2. So I've done round 2 and now I'm working round 3. So I'm knitting half stitches or all stitches on my first needle. And we are starting working our twisted stitches. So in row 3 I need first stitch, and now I need to do my right twisted stitches. Now I'm doing right twisted stitches. For this I need knit 2 stitches together. Do not drop stitches off the needle and knit into the first stitch. Okay, now I need to work my left twisted stitches. For this I need rotate stitches on my needle. So what I'm actually doing, I slip first stitch as to knit, I slip second stitch as to knit, and now slip both stitches back. Now I need to reach my second stitch behind the first one and knit it through the back loop. I do this and I don't drop stitches off the needle. Now I need to knit both those stitches together through the back loop. Done. So now I'm knitting 2 stitches, and now I'm going to repeat my explanation for both right and left twisted stitches. So for right twisted stitches I knit 2 stitches together normally, but don't drop stitches off the left needle. Now I need to knit the first stitch. Here my 2 stitches knitted together, and I drop them off the needle. Left twisted stitches. I need to rotate my stitches. I need to change position of my stitches on left needle, so I slip first stitch knitwise, I slip second stitch knitwise, and slip them both back to left needle. I approach my second stitch behind the first one and knit it. Do not slip any stitches of the needle. Now I need to knit both stitches together through the back loop. Slip stitches of the needle. I repeat in the same manner to end of row. So now I'm doing this without explanation. Right twisted stitches. And left twisted stitches. One more time. It's a bit tricky at the end of round, but here we go. Okay, third row done. Now we need to knit all stitches in next round. So now we need to continue. Go ahead and work round 5. Working 5th row of stitch chart. Again, start with knit stitches for half of round. Working second part of row and twisted stitches or in stitch chart. Next round is round 6 and I need to knit all stitches. In the round 7 I need to knit half stitches and purl another part. So I knit sole stitches and purl stitches for the front part of slipper. Round 8 I need to knit all stitches again. In row 9 I need to knit stitches for sole part and work the stitch chart for front part of slipper again. I start with left twisted stitches. Two knit stitches and right twisted stitches, and repeat to end of row. Round 10 knit all stitches again. Round 11 knit to marker 1, and work in stitch chart up to next marker or up to end of round. I start with left twisted stitches, following with right twisted stitches, 2 knit stitches, and repeat left twisted stitches, following with right twisted stitches, and continue in the same manner to end of round. And last round of repeat, I need to knit all stitches. So here the full knitted repeat of stitch chart. Now I'm going to knit this repeat 2 times more for my size. I completed 3 repeats of stitch chart, and now I need start working on decreasing for toy section, but before this I need to decrease some stitches for sole and to make the quantity of stitches equal to both needles. So now I'm working on preparation decreasing row, and for my size 3 I need to decrease 5 stitches. I do decreases by knitting 2 stitches together. My first decrease, I decreased 5 stitches and now purl to end of round. So I've done my preparation round and ready to start working on decreasing for toy shaping. In every decreasing row we're going to decrease 4 stitches. So I start my first decreasing round as follows. I knit 1 stitch and I decrease 1 stitch by slip slip knit. Now I need to knit up to 3 stitches before mark 1. Now I need to decrease 1 stitch by knitting 2 stitches together. Knit 1 stitch. I repeat the same steps for the second part of round. So I knit 1 stitch and I decrease 1 stitch by slip slip knit. Knit up to 3 last stitches. Knit last stitch. I've done the first decreasing round and now I need to knit next round. For my size, I need to repeat those two rounds 4 times more. You need to repeat them as many times as written in the pattern. I've just done second decreasing round, and now I need to knit another round. I cut the yarn leaving about 30 inches, and I pull the yarn to my tapestry needle. Insert your tapestry needle into the front of the first stitch on your front knitting needle. Pass the yarn through, slip the stitch of the needle, tight the yarn a bit, and then insert your needle into the back of your second stitch. Pass yarn through, leave the stitch on a needle. Move your yarn to the back of knitting and insert your tapestry needle into the back of the first stitch on your back needle. Slip the stitch of the needle. Now insert your needle into the front of your second stitch. Pass the yarn through. Keep the stitch on the needle. Tight the yarn and move it in front of your knitting. Now repeat those steps again. Insert your needle into the front of the first stitch on your front needle. Slip the stitch of the needle and insert your needle into the back of the second stitch. Tight the yarn. Move yarn to back of your knitting and insert your needle into the back of your first stitch on your needle. Slip the stitch of the back needle and insert your tapestry needle into the front of your second stitch. Now repeat those two steps up to the end of your row. Be careful with last few stitches on your both needles. You need to make sure you not overstretch those stitches. So my last stitch is worked. Now I'm going to show you how to fix this last row if you did not tie the yarn properly. you can simply go back to the beginning of the row, find the yarn, and slowly, step by step, stitch by stitch, tighten it using your tapestry needle. And the last step, you will need to move your working yarn to the wrong side of knitting, so you can hide it later. So now it looks much better. So move your yarn to wrong side. At next step, we are going to knit edge band around open edge of our slipper. For this, we need to pick up and knit stitches around. So I'm going to pick up stitches starting from the middle of the heel. You can use circular needles, or you can continue working on double pointed needles. So I'm picking up stitches along the edge. I'm using one size smaller needles for the edge band. So here I pick up necessary quantity of stitches for my size, and I'm going to knit number of rows around as written in the pattern. I'm going to switch to shorter circular needles, as knitting on such a long needles is not convenient with so few stitches. So I knit my first round with smaller circular needle. As I mentioned, you can continue working on double pointed needles if it's easier for you. So my next step, I'm going to bind off all my stitches knitwise. Make sure you are not over tightening your stitches. All my stitches are closed now, and now I need to attach the edge of the band to the slipper. For this, I need to cut the yarn, leaving pretty long end. It's about 4 times longer than the opening of the slipper. I use my tapestry needle, and first I need to join the beginning of bind off row and the end, making one stitch. Now I need to fold the edge band in half. Find the pickup round and tack the bind off round to it. So I find the very first stitch below in my pickup row, pass the needle through this stitch, and then I need to pass the needle through the first bind off stitch. Tight the yarn. Now I repeat those steps for the second stitch. Continue to end of round. The very last step is to hide all yarn ends and block your slippers.